I think today's event really promises to inspire us with a vision of a world where the accident of one's birth doesn't limit the journey they can take toward empowerment and impact. And I'm so grateful to be part of this occasion and to really celebrate the power of the possible when philanthropy and transformational education partner to propel young people on their journeys. Among the many ways we measure journeys, it's by firsts. I've thought a lot about firsts because I've felt the power and the weight of being the first on an educational journey where you might say I've gone from passenger to conductor. I was the first in my family to go to college, the first Latina to get a PhD in philosophy from Yale, the first Native American to be privileged with serving here at UWC USA as president. But while those firsts that appear on bios and in resumes are interesting, there's a good deal they don't tell about a journey and how that journey is made possible. Here are some of the most important things that I take to be important that propelled my educational journey. First, my first teacher was a retired Air Force man. He taught me to read at 4. He was a binge alcoholic. When he was sober, we spent our time reading books and doing mathematics and talking about the larger world. When he was on a binge and unavailable, he taught me compassion and determination in the face of disappointment. I was in the 8th grade when my parents first told me they could no longer help with my homework. It was the first time they revealed that neither of them had graduated high school. They taught me the power of self-reliance. And every penny of my education was funded by someone else's philanthropy, teaching me that education is such an important social good. There are those who will extend it to complete strangers. So these firsts are easy and compelling focal points when we reflect on our journeys or on the journeys of others. But journeys are made up of much more than firsts, and the roles that others play in our journeys, be they mentors or family members or complete strangers, can make a world of difference. One of the great privileges of serving within the UWC movement is getting to watch young people early in their journeys. Young people like Zaina and our panelists. Because UWC is dedicated to equity as well as excellence, to access as well as achievement, many of the journeys we witness include a number of firsts. Take Mohammed, a student who came to UWC USA from a refugee camp in Kenya in the fall of 2015. Mohammed was originally from Jubaland in Somalia, but he, his mother, and several siblings fled after his father was killed during the Civil War. To say that life in the refugee camp was difficult for Mohammed and his family would be an understatement. When I met him in his 2nd year at UWC USA, when I first arrived, he recounted water and food shortages, constant power outages in cramped conditions, and an underground barter economy nearly impossible to navigate and filled with dangers. Through all of it, Mohammed remained motivated to get an education, hustling to find books to teach himself English and math. Philanthropy brought Mohammed to UWC USA, but the journey, quite frankly, remained difficult. He had to adapt to one cultural and experiential shift after another. He recounted that before arriving at UWC USA, he had never hugged a girl, and the amount of hugging on campus, frankly, made him uncomfortable. He didn't know any popular music, which made it awkward every time some well-being students tried to break the ice by asking who his favorite bands might be. And upon arrival, he was terrified to find a belt among the clothing some generous soul had provided for him. He thought it was a weapon and that he had been tricked into something dangerous under the guise of an educational scholarship. With time, I watched Mohammed take full advantage of the UWC educational model. He struggled with a rigorous academic program, but deepened the learning and the compassion of everyone around him by asking questions and seeking help. He shared the extraordinary experiences from his young life openly and honestly. He worked hard to understand the differences between himself and others, bridging religious and cultural divides that in the larger world lead to division and conflict. He found his passion for wilderness excursions that tested him physically as well as mentally. He was empowered by service projects in the community where he was on the giving rather than the receiving end. And in some especially memorable moments, he stepped up to lead with his idealism and resilience in assemblies and town hall meetings where his more traditional and conservative views weren't easily met with approval. Of course, Muhammad's journey had only just begun. He's gone on to an excellent liberal arts college where he continues to struggle, to grow, and to draw on his idealism and his resilience. Muhammad has many more stops on a journey that will be filled with firsts, and maybe looking back, he'll feel their power and weight. But for now, the important thing is that he's not on his journey alone. Philanthropy is working its magic by providing access, and transformational education continues to open up possibilities he couldn't have imagined 5 years ago in that refugee camp in Kenya. My excitement at the emerging partnership between RISE and UWC is in honor of the Muhammads of the world and in gratitude for my own journey. By seeking our talented young people wherever they may be, by refusing to think that the beginning of a journey determines its end, by walking alongside and providing compass, by trusting young people to come into their own if given the opportunity. RISE and UWC are envisioning a future that should give us all hope, a future in which human talent is honored and offered an opportunity to succeed, a future where young people from underserved communities are empowered to become change makers in a world that sorely needs them, a future in which firsts go beyond individual accomplishment, enabling future leaders to emerge who are curious enough and courageous enough to tackle the world's problems with compassion because of their own journeys and the help they received, not just at first, but all along the way. So before I turn it over, I just want to say thank you to Schmidt Futures and the Rhodes Trust. UWC is so grateful for the opportunity to partner in the service of the power of youth.